Hello there, my name is John. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what you might want to think about or consider before you start a YouTube channel. Now, you may already have a channel that isn't performing quite the way that you want, or perhaps you're thinking of starting one. Either way, I hope that some of the information that I have here for you is useful. So, I have a number of channels. None of them are huge. I have one that is around 20,000 subscribers, another that is around 4,000 right now. That's probably where this video is on the experiments and photography channel. And then I have another channel with one single one single subscriber. That's my art channel where I draw and paint. Maybe I'm just really bad at drawing and painting. I don't know. But that one's just getting started. I don't know if I'll continue on with it or not. But we'll talk a little bit more about what it means to have multiple channels as we get going. This is not a video per se. It's just going to be audio, kind of like a podcast. I've been thinking about kind of mixing in just these sort of audio pieces here and there as I'm getting experiments in photography going a little bit again. We'll see how long this lasts. I have a real tenuous and complicated relationship with YouTube, which I think you may understand a little bit better, both my situation and maybe your own, if you listen to this all the way to the end. So yeah, let's just get right into the good stuff here. So I want to talk a little bit about why people start a YouTube channel, because I think that will help sort of craft the conversation for the rest of this recording. And I think there's a few primary reasons people consider it. One is they're looking to develop another form of income, like a passive stream of income. Another would be that they just need a place to express themselves, their art, their ideas, whatever the case may be. I think some people do it just for fun as an experiment because they see other folks doing it and they think to themselves, that looks like a good time. I want to try it out. And still more maybe are starting their channel for some sort of notoriety or fame. And of course, most people have a mixture of motivations. I think you kind of get some sort of spread between all of those things. For me, most of my channels are really about hopefully generating some money over time, but also I don't have another platform to really display my art and the things that I think about and am into. And I've found that YouTube, in spite of all its problems, is a place where you can readily get access to other human beings who are interested in what you're creating and doing. And so, for that reason, I keep going. But there are definitely frustrations along the way, and I want to talk a little bit about that. So before I get into that, let me just say that I don't have any kind of insider information surrounding YouTube or Google. I don't really know how their algorithms work. I don't really understand what they are and are not incentivizing, which is kind of what we're going to talk about next. I can only speak from my experiences, and so don't take this as some kind of truth, or I really can't make any definitive statements about the platform or the company. I can just say what it seems like and what it feels like for me as a creator. So, and I want to start with talking a little bit about incentives. So when people get on YouTube, most of the time, their incentives, the things that they're thinking about is their own pocketbooks, their financial accounts, their happiness, their interests, connecting with other people, that kind of thing. And YouTube is definitely a platform where you can build a channel that will help enhance potentially all of those things. But it doesn't seem to me, from my perspective, like that's the primary incentive on YouTube's side. I don't feel like YouTube's priorities are my health, happiness, joy, profitability, my art. It doesn't really feel that way. It feels like their priority is advertising and eyeballs, which ideally would then go towards advertising. And that's perfectly understandable. It's a business. They're here to make money, and they're here to make money as a result of your creative work. And that is a deal that you strike when you sign up and you go to use the platform. You've chosen to leverage the platform and the vast audience it has and in return, YouTube is going to seek to profit on some level from your work. And ideally, it's a win-win scenario where you both get something out of the arrangement. I think that's obviously the idea. But as you get started and as you get your channels going, something you'll realize is that certain kinds of videos work really well on YouTube and certain kinds of videos don't work particularly well. For example, my photography channel, if I make a video about how to do some sort of technique, that will sometimes do quite well. I think my biggest video right now is how to take an artistic self-portrait. And if I make a video about, like, I have some of my most recent videos are silent travel films where I'm just hiking around somewhere, or I've got some pretty footage of a waterfall or something, and it's backdrop with some nice music. And those videos are the ones that I enjoy making the most. I get the most personal gratification out of that kind of content. But it's not the kind of content that YouTube is going to go and send out to the masses, at least not in the form that I've created. That isn't to say that there aren't channels who do that well and get views. But if you just take a step back and look at your feed, go to your home feed on YouTube and just look at all of the videos that are coming up, what you'll see are some commonalities. You'll see thumbnails with text and people's faces, oftentimes a face that is shocked or surprised, because that draws people into clicking on the thumbnail, and YouTube notices that kind of behavior and then continues to promote those kinds of videos with those kinds of thumbnails. You also see certain kinds of titles. The truth about blah, blah, blah. Anything scandalous is always really big and seems to do pretty well. That or something that is very easily digestible. 6 tips for blah, 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 whatever, fill in the blank. And all of that is fine. I understand why it operates that way. And I mean, why would they not design an algorithm that promotes further engagement with their content and attracts people's attention? That's how it works. So it's as much a window into the psyche of human beings as it is a window into the computational framework that is YouTube. But I bring this up because I think people oftentimes begin their journey with sort of a rosy-eyed view of making things that they just love, and they'll put it out there and everyone else will love it, and they'll make a bunch of money and get 1 million followers, and the next thing you know, life will be perfect. And that's not really a realistic expectation of your life or of YouTube or of making videos. And what I've kind of found over time is I need to strike a balance between videos that I make for me and videos that I make for views. And it seems like I need both of those things. But if I do all videos for views, then my soul dies. And I'm not happy making videos on the platform anymore. And if I make videos just for me, then my channel dies because no one wants to watch it. So just be advised that that is very much how it works. And you know, maybe in the future that will change on some level, but at this point, it seems pretty well ingrained. So keep that in mind. Another thing I'd like to talk about is longevity on the platform. And this is something that I have done horribly over time. I hope to improve. And what happens to me often is I will get some creative ideas and I will get excited about them. And so then I will go and I will make lots of videos and lots of content, or even just a few, and I'll put a ton of energy and time into them, and then I will launch them, and I'm, at that point, completely burnt out, exhausted, and I don't want to think about making any more videos, and that can go on for weeks, months, even years at a time. And that's probably not the best way to approach it. I think, you know, if we're talking about incentives, your channel is probably going to benefit from you putting in consistent work with it, and you can't be consistent if you don't maintain and kind of watch your own energy levels and mental health. And so what I would maybe encourage you to do is use less energy than you have. Even if you're excited about something and you're really interested in kind of getting things started, pace yourself. Make sure that when you're done working on a video or editing or filming or writing a script or something, that you've got some energy left in the tank. You're not using up everything that you have every day, because it won't be long before you hit a wall. And that can happen in so many forms on YouTube. You get tired of making the same kind of content. You get exhausted from this constant revolving door. One video goes out, the views come in, the comments happen, and then it all starts all over again. There's kind of no end to it. So yeah, something to think about is just kind of how you feel, and keep close tabs on that, because that's important. And it's not something that the platform is going to do for you. They're not going to call you up and say, "Hey, you're feeling a little tired? Here's what we'll do. We'll give you a little boost in views for the next month while you go and take a vacation. And then when you come back feeling rested, we'll just resume things as normal." It's that's not really how it works. You got to manage your own health. So keep that in mind. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to respect my limitations. I like to make content on multiple channels, but I also have these huge periods of time where I kind of walk away, and I'd rather not do that. I would kind of like to continue. And honestly, this channel, the photography channel, is my favorite one. It's the thing that I'm kind of most excited about, and the thing I like talking about, and I've loved taking photos for many, many years. And I would like to be consistent, so I need to work at helping myself make that happen. Okay, the next thing on the list here that I have in front of me is, will you make it on YouTube? And I think when people begin, they are often hoping that their channel will take off, that it will become something big, something sensational. That's possible. That could certainly happen to you. It's the minority of people. I think most channels that start don't go very far at all. A few gain some traction and others get really big. But I think starting out with that expectation of some kind of a certain level of progress is probably the wrong way to begin. I would think of it differently. I would consider the kind of channel, or ideally channels multiple, that you would want to make. And then I would begin iterating. So I would put together 5 to 7 videos for a channel, and I would launch them. And it seems to me that when I launch a bunch of videos, usually somewhere between 1 and 3 months is where they kind of hit their stride. Like wherever they're going to end up in the vast library of YouTube videos that exist, they tend to get there sort of in that amount of time. And then you can look and see kind of what happened. If people are excited and a few people are showing up and there seems to be some traction, then keep going. If not, then I would either change your format for the same channel, like do something a little bit different in the same genre, or just start a different channel. And I think if you do that enough times, eventually you'll kind of get a feel for what works, what doesn't, what kind of topics are going to be good for you and what ones are not going to be good for you. And here's the thing, YouTube isn't for everyone. There's kind of this sense, I think, among people that everyone should be an Instagram influencer or something. And that's not accurate. That's not true. Like you are a specific individual. You are a person. You have strengths and weaknesses and needs, and you're not like everyone else. And as more time goes on, I'm trying to make my content more and more fit to me, to be more like me, not like someone else, because that ultimately is what is going to be sustainable for me. And I would hate being an Instagram influencer. Like that doesn't, even the word influencer like drives me kind of insane. I don't have a prominent place in most of my videos. I'm not interested in having people recognize me and see my face and think, oh, that guy, he's the whatever, fill in the blank. It's just not really the kind of content I want to make. So don't let everyone else's ambitions or what the things you consume dictate what you create. Create what works for you. And ultimately the chips will fall where they may. You may find some success with it, and you may not. And I think you need to begin it, your channel with an open mind, and don't think too seriously about what it could become. Think about how much you do or don't like working on it. Small wins. If someone shows up and has something nice to say, that's awesome, and appreciate every little step. I follow some channels who got really big really fast. I have a few people who it seems like within a year, they had 30 or 40 videos, and it was huge. they had hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And I have other channels I follow who I'll go back and look and kind of see when they got started. And it's the course of over 10 years. They built, their platform up into something that actually, was working for them. So there's multiple ways to make it happen. And there's no real secret, I don't think. So just don't let your expectations outpace reality too much, because you don't want to just fall on your face and feel terrible about the whole experience. I think what you can realistically expect is if you iterate on a few channels and you learn from the videos that you make, that eventually you'll start seeing some people trickle in, a few dozen, then a few hundred, and then a few thousand. Will you ever have a channel of 250,000 people? I don't know. I mean, probably not. Most of us won't. But, it's still kind of a cool thing to do as a hobby. I have, for a while, I was actually making, some money on the side of some of my channels, and people were paying attention to it, and it was kind of fun to be interacting with communities of folks, and I would like to see this channel grow again. So yeah, just take it as it comes. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Also keep in mind that some genres pay much better than others. Some topics are more suited to growth on YouTube than others. I think if you are just looking for cash, I don't know, like teach people how to lose weight or make money, or that seems to be like pretty big on YouTube. That's been true of the internet forever. Like, those are the big money-making topics on the internet. So if that's all you care about and you're good at one of those things, hey, more power to you, I guess. Starting something like a photography channel is probably not the fastest way to get a bunch of attention, a bunch of views, and a bunch of money. But you know what? It's what I enjoy. So I'm going to keep going because I have a job. I already have a job where I do a thing that I don't really like that much. So I don't need a second job where I do another thing for free that I don't like that much. So, I got 2 more points here. The second to last is it is very much a winner takes all system. It's kind of like capitalism, like the biggest people have the most success and then continue to have success because when they release a video, it gets a ton of views and a ton of traction without them really having to do anything. So keep in mind that when you're small, it's going to feel like you're kind of just publishing information out into the void. And that's annoying, but it's also to be expected. This is true not only for channels, but also for your own individual channel. And what you'll find is that most of the videos you make don't really get views or traction or attention or comments or likes or anything. You'll have a couple that perform well, which is why volume is important on some level, because of the, I don't know, like I have like 15 videos on this channel right now, and 3 of them bring in all of the traffic. The rest of them are they just kind of sit there, and it's something for the people who seem to like my channel. They'll go and watch those, but everybody else will never see them, and that's to be expected. So when you put a video out and it doesn't do well, don't panic, make another one, keep going. And then my final point here is that, I don't want to paint a completely negative picture of doing a YouTube channel, because it is pretty cool. It's honestly, these days, if you want to interact with people on a topic, you want to be an authority on a topic, if you want to just be creative around a topic, YouTube's the place to be. You can start a blog if you want, but I think the days of just like building a blog from nothing and getting SEO links without like a lot of domain knowledge about that, or some sort of specific skills, like, I don't know, that seems to have gone by the wayside now. And YouTube is still very much growing, and it is still a place where you can gather attention and build up a group of people who care about what you're doing. And it's neat. It can be really rewarding. If you made it to the end of this, thanks for being here. If you've ever left a comment on my channel and you said something nice, you don't know what that means to people, especially when their channels are small. There are times where it's just really hard and really frustrating to be working on this at all. And when someone comes in and says, hey, I'm glad to see you're back, I really love the stuff that you make, it's, that means a lot. It just feels good. It feels good to be appreciated for the stuff that you make. And especially with something like photography, where it's art, it's the things I'm thinking and feeling and the things I care about. And to know that someone else cares about that is special. And I don't want to be too disparaging, because it is really cool. And if you have the notion or the inclination to start your own channel, then I mean, go out there and do it. Just do it knowing the reality, knowing how the system works as it stands right now. So yeah, I think I'll wrap up with that. Thank you so much for listening to this. If you are one of those people who got to the end, please say something. Say hello. Be pleasant, at least. If you're unpleasant, I'll remove you, because I don't need any more of that in my existence. You don't have to be complimentary, but just, be nice. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.